Boker Tov, everyone. Rabbi Eric Solomon, Raleigh, North Carolina, Beth Meyer Synagogue. Getting back into the rhythm of morning Torah. And it's good to be back. So, the Torah portion of the week is Re'eh, means to see, or from the root to see, look out. Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher, is bringing our people towards the promised land. We're in the book of Deuteronomy. And tells the people, look out, see. And when you look out and see, using your eyes, you'll see blessing and curse, life and death, goodness and evil. And Moshe says basically, make a choice. Look out and see into the world. And I want to talk a little bit about this idea of seeing, what it means to see blessing and also to see curse. And how do we work with that? There's a Hasidic teaching, I believe it's Rabbi Nachman, who says, the sun can be in the sky, bright and big, and we could be looking at it, but it can be blocked just with a few fingers in front of your eyes. You can block it. And his basic message is that the sun's there, this huge sun in the light of the sky, but we could block ourselves from it, not because it's not there, but because we do something ourselves to blind ourselves from seeing the gift of the light of the sun or the warmth of the sun. So really the idea of seeing, in some level, the mitzvah that Moshe places before us is about saying, see blessing. See it. In order to see it, you have to train your eyes to see it. You have to remove the blockages from seeing it. We can look at a world, and some people can look at a situation and see only curses, and there can be blessings sitting right before you. Just to give you an example, I came here from one of my most poignant examples from my rabbinate. I remember a number of years ago, and I shared this story before with my Beth Meyer Chevra in the past, but just to remind some of you, there was a young boy who was coming for bar mitzvah, the coming of age ritual, and he had a number of challenges. He had some learning challenges, he had some psychological, emotional challenges, and his parents, sadly, during this time, had just basically concluded a divorce process. And they were doing their best, to earn tremendous credit, to be amicable and do well by their son for his bar mitzvah. But all of these things were having a tremendous toll on the family and on the young boy, approaching young man. And it was very difficult for him. And for all of us. But it was a good family with good people, with good intentions and good-heartedness. So we worked closely together. When it came time for the bar mitzvah experience, he went up on the bima with a lot of anxiety and fear. And he was able to perform some of the basic rituals beautifully, and we wished him mazel tov. Fortunately, there's a lawnmower behind us here, but anyway. Now, because of his challenges, he was unable to do the full buffet of what many of the kids do. He read a small piece of the Torah, but not many lines from the Torah, not only psukim. He did in Aliyah, the blessing, but he didn't do the Haftarah, which is a prophetic reading. He didn't lead many of the prayers, because he was incapable in the dynamics. But we were so proud of him for what he did. He gave a very small speech. I was in verklempt, as they say, in tears. After the service is over, saying mazel tov, we have a luncheon called the Kiddush afterwards. We're there to celebrate. And one of the older members of our congregation, who is very respected, I hear, over talking to his friends very loudly, says, when I was a kid, my bar mitzvah, I had to read several psukim of Torah, and I had to do the whole Haftarah, and I gave my Devar Torah, was 20 minutes long. And look what they call a bar mitzvah today. That guy, that rabbi, he lets anybody have a bar mitzvah. So I pulled him to a side quietly. I tried to, privately, as Jewish law says, and explain to him that he doesn't know what he's talking about. That this young man did a heroic feat today by able to even arrive on this bima. This family, by putting it together and making this happen, was miraculous. And that you have no idea what he's going through and what situation is. What you saw, Re'eh, was klala, was curse, something bad. What you should have seen was bracha, was how unbelievable this moment is. And he was quiet, he apologized to me, and he learned his lesson. It's about what you see. We can see the same piece of information, and some can see the negative piece, and others to train ourselves to see the blessing. It's the same thing in the Olympics, by the way. As soon as we're running the race, you see someone coming in, training for years, their whole life, and they only get the silver medal or the bronze medal. Only. No, I get it. I mean, I can understand if you trained your whole life for this moment, you want the gold medal. I mean, who doesn't want to be the best in the world? Certainly when you've trained, and I get it. It can be disappointing. But the bronze medal and silver medal, that's not chopped liver, okay? Like, it's incredible accomplishment. It's how you look at, how many people have never even get to the Olympics, okay? So it's how you look at things. Are we going to look at the world from a place of potential blessing, or are we looking at the curses? And it's about re'eh. So that's why Moshe says re'eh. It's like the command, see. See the blessing means you got to force yourself to see the blessing. You got to force yourself to take the hand out of your eyes. You got to look for places where there are blessing and look at a story where blessing is there. Does that mean curse doesn't exist? Of course it does. I'm not looking at COVID and saying, there's always blessings in it. No, it's terrible. The Delta. But part of the mitzvah, the Torah training, what I would consider the Torah's message and the spiritual training, is to look at the world and understand, even when things aren't perfect, that there is blessing, and to look for gratitude and not just for criticism. That is part of a spiritual practice. So I conclude and wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom and a Chodesh Tov. We're about to enter the month of Elul, reading Rosh Hashanah, and this is a framing for the new year. When we look at Elul, as we begin our practice review of our year, can we not only see what didn't go well, which of course is important, and how we can improve not only the curses of COVID, etc., and other things, racism, but also the bracha. Even if things aren't perfect, what are the brachot? What are the blessings? And Moshe is saying, look for those too. Okay, wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom, please God, where blessings abound, not just because they're there, because we train our eyes to see them. Shabbat Shalom.